Another Christina time is perhaps 7. So, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. My friends, again I'm repeating in many different ways so that it settles into your intellect. Our mind is a noisy apartment. What to do with it? Can the apartment be noisy? No. It is located uh, on the noisy street. And what is that noisy street? It is the default mind. What is the default mind? It is impulsive, habitual, autopilot. It knows anxiety, duality, conflict, reaction. The Eastern wisdom does not ask us to bulldoze the building or apartment. It gives you the key, and the key is the Mangalachara. Pay attention. Anytime, anywhere, if you repeat. David was saying last time that he did it during the day also. You can only do if you have the Eastern wisdom, the power of discernment. Otherwise, you will forget. Another part that is very important to understand, every time you have anxiety, duality, conflict, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, deep inside your head, with a discernment, with an intellect, you recognize whenever you have anxiety, whenever your mind says it's a bad morning, you have to return to a thought. Your mind is not broken, it is just running an outdated operating system. You have to change it. Why mind unnecessarily? You wake up in the morning, you're going to sleep, and you return to the past, worries, reaction, and your habit. Why? So when you question why, when you recognize it is not a noisy apartment, it is not broken, you can open your eyes. So then only you can deliberately confirm the address of the peace and happiness within you. Otherwise, there is no chance. Otherwise, the default mind will ask, where is the peace and where is the happiness? Default mind does not have that peace and happiness. This is the way to confirm your peace and happiness, your peace and happiness. And ultimately, in meditation, not only it confirms, but you awaken to that state. As we discussed, what we will discuss today, a little bit of four practices. Do you remember the fourfold practices? The first is the discernment. Continuous discernment leads to dispassion. Continuous practice of discernment and dispassion awakens you to the six treasures. And what is the fourth one? If you remember, it is known as the mumukshu, burning desire for awakening. No, I'm talking to, I think everyone is married, so, no. So, whether you are married or not, but you have a thought that now, tomorrow, like next week, I will get married. your mind continues to be overwhelmed with that thought of getting married, and that idea, the thought, that feeling of the marriage is always there for about a week until the date and the time comes. Do you marry with a burning desire for awakening? Answer is no. Then how can you have that awakening? How can you have that? You have not set the destination. Everyone may have different experiences. So, no, today I will get $1 million, etc., etc. But before we go further, we will discuss how you lived your life until today from the last session. Let us start with David.
Again, just sort of the similar to Saturday's discussion. Before bed, middle of the night, in the morning, throughout the day, but very, very peaceful. No, you know, and maybe there was actually things, but I didn't really notice them. If that makes sense.
Yes, yes. The default mind had already undergone the experiences of anxiety, reaction, and duality. But because my discerning intellect has replaced it, so I remember, I have those memories, but they don't disturb me. This is what you are saying, and that is a wonderful, wonderful thing to know, to realize, and to understand. We discussed last time normal seeker, fast seeker, fastest seeker. If you remember, we have to continue. How are you, Dennis?
Um, I'm fine, and my mind was also at peace since the last session. I was analyzing the changes in my behavior and attitude, and there is an observation I can share. It is quite similar to what Samir was sharing some time ago, that before I started to learn Eastern wisdom, it was really important for me to prove my point to whoever was in doubt that I'm right. And later I understood that this is the way ego works, and the desire to prove something to someone is nothing but a weakness, it is a seeking of approval and appreciation from others. So little by little, through understanding this, desire was fading away. And if something inside was still pushing me to prove my point, I knew I wasn't going to do it. And what changed very recently is that I noticed that even this desire dissolved completely. So right now, I never get any push from the inside to prove something to someone. I'm more concerned with maintaining good relationships with people, making sure that I express my point the best way I can. But if they disagree, I'm very happy to accept it without any reservations.
Beautifully said. You see, Mangala Charan, we discussed many statements, salutation to the master, uh, namaste to the lotus feet. It is all to get rid of this default mind which contains the ego. If the ego is not gone, then it is very difficult to treat this path. And you rightly recognize this. The greater the recognition and getting rid of it, we will find we can maintain the status quo of the peace and the calm. Beautifully said. How are you, Jerry?
Thank you, sir. I'm good. Um, Maybe a little bit to Dennis's and to David's. I practice every day, all day. I don't feel like I have a lot of reactivity or impulsivity. Um, um, I could go with the flow. I feel like I go with the flow a lot. In our relationship, David and I, if I have an idea or I suggest something, a lot of times it's met with resistance. So I've kind of worked on the way I offer the idea. But like, let's just try it, might work. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like I feel like David's surprised when it works.
Good.
Which is fine. But at least he's trying it and less resistant. And then just like to Dennis's point, I drink warm water, especially through the or tepid water through the winter. But even I rarely drink cold. And I was explaining to him in Ayurveda how we put out our fire with that, the cold water. And then he would continually ask me if I wanted a cold drink. So finally, because I didn't care if he decided he likes cold water or he likes a cold beverage. But then I sent him some information. So it wasn't just coming from my opinion or my ideas. And now he's drinking warm water, which is just fun. It's just fun. And he's no longer asking me if I like cold water.
Very good.
But it's all good. It's all a play and a fun. So that's, I guess, the point.
You see what Gary is saying? It is a very small thing with the cold and the warm water. But when you see from the perspective of changing our behavior and attitude and presenting and manifesting our life, it is a big deal. Even a small thing is a very big deal. That helps you to get rid of the default mind. You see that is why, in one way, you'll be surprised. Perhaps you might be, no, we are aware. Eastern wisdom says you wake up in the morning 3 hours before the sunrise. So it is 7, so you have to wake up at 4, which I strictly followed almost 40 years ago, and now it is helping me. But it has no, otherwise, if you logically put the things, no, it does not matter. No, it matters. It matters a great deal. Wonderful. How are you, Christina? We are waiting for you to completely change.
I am too. I'm noticing more and more catching myself moving into the anxiety thoughts. And yesterday I had a moment where my anxiety was like up to my head, and I was watching my thoughts, and I came back to the Mangalacharan.
Good.
I do a tapping thing that I do with it. And by the time I was out, by the time I got home, it all completely went away. And, it was just all thoughts, work thoughts about worry thoughts and, all related to work. So I could just really see the ability to watch my mind move back and forth.
Beautifully. Do you see how the mind works on us, how the mind leads us, and how we can lead the mind? So I can lead the mind anytime, anywhere, if I wish to, following these simple principles. Otherwise, we take it for granted. You wake up in the morning and you say it's a bad morning. Yes, it is a bad morning. And throughout the day, we fall into anxiety and reaction. Yes, what happened, Terry?
Well, I was just thinking that when I get into an anxiety thought, it's usually about some problem that I have to get something done. So I say to myself, the time I'm spending on the anxiety thought I'm not getting it done. So I
Good.
said, why do you know? So what's the point? So I should either just relax or go do it. Like
Beautiful.
I say stuff like that to myself.
Yes, yes.
That helps me stay calm.
That is a big change. And if you can live, you are thinking that you have a limitation and you have to depend on others. Am I not dependent on you guys? You send your little contribution, and that is how I can manage my life. Am I not dependent on you? I'm dependent on you. So, in the world, in your personal, professional, social, family life, we have an exchange. We are always dependent. But in the spiritual life inside, we are totally independent. That discernment has to be there. Do I not dependent on the municipality water through the tap that I get? Am I not dependent on the electricity supply? Don't think that you are limited because of the challenges that you. Everyone has challenges. Yes, I changed your perception a little bit, but you changed yourself. Yes, Vaibhav.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I was traveling last week, and earlier when I used to travel, there was a sense of anxiousness. I was being like a little bit of anxiety was there when I used to travel, and a lot of things were going in my head, like how the things will go, whether I will catch my train or my flight on time. This time, like when I was doing it, I was just watching those thoughts and seeing that I should not be trapped by those. I should be free from those. So I was applying all the six treasures, like samadhama. I was applying that, and it will help me a lot. Like as I was by choice, I was being calm, and that was the experience.
Beautiful. You applied it and you applied it consciously. I have an anxiety. Terry, think. The moment mind says, no, I have an anxiety, you notice mind has an anxiety by a thought plus association with a feeling. I am not in anxiety. That power of discernment helps a great deal. And you applied it, you made a choice. One thing is there, anxiety, depression, reaction, anger, hesitation, bad morning, etc., etc. It runs on autopilot. In the moment you become aware and then you remember these principles of Eastern wisdom, you find there is a change. I appreciate you all. Thank you very well. Thank you very much that you have been applying. Are you Eastern wisdom ready? That is how the American phrase is. I'm learning little bit. Not everything I can learn in my life. Because you have those past impressions, uh, from your native country. So, are you Eastern wisdom ready? It says fourfold practices: discernment, discernment, viveka. Viveka is the discernment between the real and the unreal. I have to remember this. I have to remember this. First thing. Second thing is the discernment. Whereas when I recognize this anxiety is unreal or false, and it is an app already installed in my default mind, uninstall it. That uninstalling is applying the discerning intellect, is known as the dispassion.
No voice.
Uh, it is known as Vairagya, the dispassion. The third is the six treasures we have just completed in the last session. Samadhama Uparama Diksha. Shraddha and Samadhanam. But now understand they both are related. I'll talk for a few minutes about briefly. And the fourth one is known as the mumukshu. Mumuksha means I have a burning desire. I have a burning desire for freedom, for awakening, for self knowledge, for self actualization. If I don't have that burning, intense, and steady desire for awakening, without it, all first three will not lead us to that. Yeah, it will help us in our daily personal and professional life, but it is not going to help us unless we have that burning desire for self knowledge, for awakening. Did I feel bored after I've been teaching for the last almost now 46, 47 years? The same stuff, but totally in a different way. Huh? My mind says, oh, let us have this kind of an expression. Let us use this phrase in an American way, in this Indian way, in this way, so that the people can absorb it deeply. Mind is always ready to apply those principles. Why? Living into that state helps you to continue to live into the higher and the higher state. So, four keys before the door opens. Four keys. There is another way to. Which are the four keys? Discernment first. So you recognize discernment, you recognize this is false, but this is already present in me. As the wife has said, I was taking a flight and I have a sense of anxiety and I applied Sama and Dhamma. You are uninstalling your anxiety. So that is the dispassion. So once you do both, then you start recognizing these six treasures. But even these three qualifications are not enough. Master says, mumukshu, a burning desire to live now into that state. Into that state. Briefly, we will talk in detail about it. Discernment between the real and unreal, I have told you. And you can say changing and unchanging. What is changing? Not me. You declare. Even if the default mind says, no, it is me. Then, without discernment, the mind treats temporary gains as ultimate and chases them endlessly. That is why we have anxiety. That is why we have reaction. That is the problem. But then we have a dispassion. Dispassion or detachment from the worldly desire must come from discernment. It should not be forced. It should be awakened state. Worldly desire and attachment. So indifference is not the right word. Even with little discernment, your old habits pull your default mind down. And then you open the gateway to the six treasures. And once you open the gateway to the six treasures, the fourth I have to remember, you have to ask yourself, what is this burning desire? For self-knowledge, burning desire for awakening, burning desire for realization, burning desire, you can say an intense longing or desire for enlightenment and liberation. If it is absent, it will not. The other factors may not help you. The intense desire to achieve permanent happiness, you can say that is also the mumukshu. Freedom from the wheel of birth and death, that is how we also use the word. Without this wind of longing for freedom, the other three qualifications lack energy. They are practiced only when convenient. But when you have this burning desire, all the three previous practices, means six treasures, discernment and dispassion, will continue throughout your life, during your journey of life, at every moment. We will talk about that mumukshu, what exactly is, how to enter into that state of burning desire, and then you will see with these four powerful factors, the best thing, they can be done internally. All four are intellectual. Understanding, application, evaluating your attitude, behavior, and conduct, applying the wisdom, daily analysis, and you analyze daily. Daily in your life, whatever the situation you have, you will find this mumukshu, or the burning desire, will set a fire in deep inside you, and as if you will start living at a higher level of awareness naturally, automatically. Let us go for a longer practice. Today is the Monday. Eyes are closed. The stage one, passive state. Place, position, and posture. If I say stage one, awakening to passive state of self-awareness, like aligning a satellite dish before receiving a signal. Place, position, and posture is aligning the body and the environment so your attention can receive higher awareness, not random noise. You have to understand each and every. You have to become your own teacher. And if you have become your own teacher, you can be a teacher to anyone. Choose a place. You have chosen a place. You are shifting from the default mind scattered to a conscious presence. Can I say like this? Place, position, and posture tells the mind now the direction is inward. You are done. That is, we have to sit consciously. Sometimes we sit unconsciously. Let us sit, close your eyes, and now we will start with the meditation. And your mind is still in the default state, it will not work. Then we have the second step in the first stage is being comfortable. You are very clear, it is changing the direction and experiencing sensation, comfort, and steadiness. You see, all are passive state, like parking the car and turning off the engine. That is being comfortable. I'm using these metaphors so that at least even if you remember a metaphor, it will help your mind to withdraw. Like parking the car and turning off the engine before opening the map. You let the body settle so mind can turn inward. And I have given you this step. You are moving the mind on the skin of the body from the top of the head to the toes, and you experience the sensation, comfort, and steadiness. So it is not the steadiness of your default mind. We wake up in the morning, mind says it's a bad morning, but we don't feel any hesitation in the body. So it is a default setting of the comfort, but it is a conscious setting of the comfort. We have to embark a journey of awakening consciously. So, can I say being comfortable is self awareness plus comfort? Now we will, with that, you settle. Anytime you try, you just do like this, the way I'm talking, you start talking to yourself. And I can bet you, you will find that practice so enjoyable because intellect is fully aware now, being carefree. Space between the chasing and escaping. Observer and observed. Imagine standing on a hill between two highways. One road when the mind runs after the world, another where it runs away from the world. Carefreeness is the meadow in between. And that is what I said you notice. You feel some sensation in the body. Don't say you feel. It is the mind that is experiencing the body. I'm not there. I am separate. I'm the knower. I'm the observer. So with the moment you are an observer, perhaps I discussed that before. The moment you are an observer, you will have a deeper experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Why? Because in that state, you can have an observer and observed distinctly separate. You have a deeper experience of sensation, relaxation, and stillness, and that leads to because in that stillness you can observe easily. Let us move to the fourth step. Or you communicate with yourself when you are doing on your own. In a ways, you do it and share your experiences. And then the first, I can do the fifth stage is the recognition of sama and dhamma, uparati and titiksha also, or a shraddha or a faith, or even the samadhan. Whereas samadhan, at least you have succeeded in settling the body, asking the mind to move within. That is also samadhana. So all the six treasures can work. And now we will use Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. May there be happiness for all. Recognize deliberately happiness is you. Deliberate, I have already explained. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Deliberate. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be wholeness. I am whole. Where is the question of anxiety comes? It comes from the default mind. So I have a deliberate recognition of that wholeness in me. Mind pulls you outside. Seeking pleasure, you push it backward. Step back, go back, find out deliberate recognition. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Just saying once and you are settled deeper within. We have yet to continue the journey. We have yet to reach to a mindfulness or meditative state, but we are already absorbed deeper within. And that is done by the sixth step. In the first stage is the six neighbors in the real self. So your persistency, your consistency demands burning desire. So what is the world outside? World outside is the first neighbor. First neighbor. Am I the first neighbor? No. First neighbor is the world of people, relations, objects, events, outside. So, second neighbor is the physical body. Physical body with a sensation. The default mind thinks because the body has a sensation, it means I'm alive. The fact is too far from it. So here the physical, so it has to birth, in the growth, in the death, in the aging, all those issues. On the other hand, body is a temple in which we recognize, we find the awakening. On one hand, it causes the third neighbor, hunger. The default mind takes hunger and thirst, and discerning mind or intellect takes the energy as one life amongst all the living creatures. We will talk about it. And the fourth neighbor is the mind with the dualities, with the pain and the pleasure on one hand, by the default mind, and by the discerning mind. Discerning mind says, okay, let me experience the pleasure, and it is outside my real self. Fifth neighbor, strong likes and dislikes with ego. Ego is living here. And the sixth neighbor is ignorance, or you can say the causal body. You can say the causal, not casual body. And behind that, beyond that, there is a real self. To know real self is to realize real self, is the awakening. So we have done the first stage, purely a passive state, minded. Your intellect has done all the six steps. And now look at the breath. We are moving into the second stage. First, live in the present moment. In the stage 2, live in the present moment. Means the flow of the breath. And if there is any thought coming from the default mind, you can also drop, if possible, the deluded mind. In that state, now look deep inside the forehead, in the forehead, in the space. Keep looking. Here the samadhana comes. Here total focus beyond the crazy thoughts, and then you start breathing long, deep, and the hissing breath into your chest, into your rib cage. Continue breathing long, deep in the hissing breath, into your entire rib cage. And you already know the rib cage should expand while breathing in, the rib cage should contract while breathing out. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale with a focus deep inside the forehead in the space. Adjusting your breathing, while swimming so you don't sink into the drowsy water or a panic. So you are adjusting, you are breathing long, deep in the hissing breath. And long, deep in the hissing with a focus inside the forehead. We are breathing, we are doing a long practice. And now leave it, allow the breath to return. Just a flow of the breath. And whenever I say the flow of the breath, you have to see the breath goes in and out. You feel the sensation, and you do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Normal flow of the breath means that, and also the flow of the breath means you just check if the flow is equal or not. Why? Because the more you notice every time you do the practice, one day what is going to happen? You will find the flow of the breath continues. Let us do the second breathing. Focus deep inside the belly button and start breathing long, deep in the hissing breath into your belly. This time your focus is inside the belly button. Breathing is long, breath is going in and out into the belly. It means you expand your belly completely while inhaling and contracting the belly. Contracting the belly while exhaling means that as if the belly is touching the spine. Total. That is why I'm using the word long, deep in the hissing breath. Long, deep in the hissing breath. And now lead this return to the flow of the breath again. In that flow of the breath, behind what is supporting your place, position, and posture, your sensation, comfort, and steadiness, your sensation, relaxation, and steadiness, a sense of absence of crazy thoughts and feeling inside your head, maybe a calmness and the peace. A lot of things are there. In that stay flow of the breath, you notice, and then you move into the nyasa, deep, silent, slow breathing. Now the breath is deep, but it is totally silent and also slow. When it is slow, it is deep, it is silent. You live in a higher awareness, but we want to raise further. So how you do it? The moment you start inhaling, you move the mind from the top center of the head down inside to the tailbone, singing Om Shanti. And while exhaling, you move the mind from the tailbone to the top center of the head, singing again Om Shanti. So you can say you are regulating the mind. You can also say you are regulating the breath. You can also say that you are helping the mind to continue to live within higher awareness beyond the world of name and the form. Even those thoughts are coming and going, but you are not impacted. You are not impacted, dictated by them. So that is, you can say, that is the beginning of settling the mind deeper inside. Now you invite your friend, oh, come on, settle yourself in a living room. So you are helping the mind to settle in a living room inside. Now leave this, return to the flow of the breath. Returning to the flow of the breath. And on that flow, you drop Om Shanti. So the first is obviously in the spine. Second Om Shanti, we are dropping casually and naturally on the track of the breath without changing the rate and the rhythm of the breath. Mentally, you are dropping Om Shanti on the track of the breath, on the flow of the breath that is going in and coming out. And now the shift, dropping the Om Shanti on the 16 segments of the fingers. We need more time. So when you are doing on your own, maybe on this dropping Om Shanti on the breath, dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of fingers, and on the triangle. Maybe you can spend 10 minutes each. And if you succeed in that, you need not to ask me anything. You will find a tremendous higher state. You can try this couple of days. Here, dropping Om Shanti on the 16 segments of fingers, 4 fingers, every finger has 4, including the top. You look at the segment mentally, you stay there, you drop Om Shanti before you move to the second segment. You look, you feel, you say, and you move to the next one. And now leave this, move the mind inside the heart, visualize the triangle of any color, pointing upward and moving the mind on each side of a triangle, dropping Om Shanti clockwise and anti-clockwise. So if you have done the first round clockwise, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, and then return to the anti-clockwise movement, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti. Continue. Again, a static, like the 16 segments of the fingers, but if the prana moves like a triangle, it changes. So this is little bit of tantra part I've added into the meditation. Triangle represents Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna. It also represents knowledge, desire, and action. Pointing upward, it represents the Shiva, the highest consciousness, non-dual. So there are many ways, that is explained, but we will go there when. And now push the mind deep inside the cave of your heart, singing. Mind seems to stop and you drop Shanti. After that, all your effort is gone. In a waiting period. You are in a waiting period. And in that waiting period, we have lot of vision, colors. We already entered into the fourth stage or fifth. You just enter into fourth stage of total self-absorption. Yes, waiting period, then we may have some vision in colors and images, but they will settle down because we have been consciously doing it to avoid, to prevent, and to dissolve any thought converting into hallucinations and imaginations. So it is just the field of pure awareness. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can also do it, if you're doing it loudly, then in 2 breaths you can do it. Take another breath. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And if you're doing it mentally, that is also okay. Say, for example, you're doing it loudly. So you take a deep breath and then take a deep breath in while breathing out. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms, and in that dark space, stay there. Ask your mind what happened, where you are, what is your experience. And then bring the hands down. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. I just had this feeling of almost just floating above everything, all of the thoughts, the duality, the anxiety, just a deep sense of peace.
Why don't you live into that state all the time? That is our goal. Beautiful. How are you, Terry?
There was very deep nothing.
No,
And I had an awareness of an image at one point. It was very interesting.
beautiful.
And I also had awareness of one area where I had some difficulty. And then I was thinking about that and I thought, well, why are you clinging to this? Either one of them. Why don't you just forget about it and go
Yes.
into nothing?
Yes.
Well,
Beautiful. No limitation. Good. How are you, Jerry?
Thank you, sir. Good. Nice progressive deepening of the meditation. And then at the end, the observer was really present as far as like noticing the body being cold, a little heavy, noticing thoughts that the mind seemed very still. So when I went to kind of like observe the thoughts, there were no thoughts other than the noticing. So that was the thought.
Beautiful.
Thank you, sir.
That is a pretty deeper. We just remain as an observer. We will also understand we are just an observer. The rest is the play and the fun with reference to the body, mind, intellect, ego, anxiety, duality. Deeper state. How are you, Dennis?
Seamless and comfortable meditation. At the end, infinite dark space, no visions, no colors. Some thoughts were trying to pull me out, but I managed to return back to the space and stay there till the end.
Beautiful.
Very peaceful. Yeah.
Beautiful. When it is almost an objectless state is a subjective awareness. Whether you say it is an observer or you say it is an infinite space, until now. As we move further, we will understand. How are you, David?
Sir, thank you. It was a very progressive, deep meditation that I recall going through all the different stages and the nyasa and so on, but I don't recall anything else, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
it was wonderful. Thank you.
Beautiful. It's a deeper state. How are you, Vaibhav?
Thank you, sir. So it was smooth, like not impacted by the thoughts which is coming. It was all relaxed and calm.
Beautiful. You see, everyone is not impacted by any thought, feeling, body, mind, and external events. Can we live into that state? Until Thursday, we will meet again on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste.